The thing is, we need to talk about the Garfield movie, because Garfield is an old character who has had several comic strips, movies, cartoons, then it was inactive for a while and now it's back. But did it work? In this video, I'm going to tell you everything. So here's the deal. Stick with me until the end of this video because I've already watched the Garfield movie at Sony's invitation and now I'm going to tell you the truth. This is the Cine Lovers channel, your channel for movies, animations, and cinema. Get comfortable and grab your lasagna. In the movie, Garfield is kidnapped along with Woody because of some trouble, and they're in captivity. Garfield reunites with his biological father Vic, as seen in the trailer. And it's exactly about the trailer that I want to start. The trailers didn't give any spoilers about the movie, and that made me very surprised when I watched it in the cinema. My expectations were normal, but after watching the Garfield movie, wow, it was much better than I expected. But why is that? It had a great interesting story, and the movie is full of plot twists, full of turns. I found it awesome when I thought the story and that character were like this, and that there was nothing more to tell about them. The story came and showed that you didn't know anything. Plot twist after plot twist. And I've said this several times here for you guys. We want to be surprised in a story. No one wants to see something predictable. So here's the tip. Another great positive point is the graphics. The animation style is beautiful. It's not on the level of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, but Sony Pictures Animation once again put on a show on the cinema screen. I found the facial expressions of the characters very beautiful. The smoothness of the movements can be seen perfectly. And when this smoothness in movement is not well done, we can just tell by looking at it. Something feels weird, like in the case of Megamind 2. Besides the graphics being too messed up, the movement was very abrupt and caused a lot of discomfort. The essence of Garfield has returned and returned very well. That's what's brilliant. The character hasn't had new productions for a long time, and now when he comes back, his whole essence comes with him. Garfield remains hungry, lazy, and funny. And at the same time that Garfield's essence returns, Garfield is placed in a situation totally different from what he's used to. And still, he preserves that essence, lives new things, and learns a lot. In other words, they managed to balance all this in one movie, with scenarios never experienced before by Garfield. And before I talk about some spoilers, subscribe to the channel, so together we can reach the first 1,000 subscribers of the channel. It's for you. Thank you very much for the support. Well, besides Garfield, Woody is around, and of course, John. There are references, Easter eggs to other famous characters from the Garfield universe, and other new characters also enter this movie. This combination made this animation much more interesting because there were old elements that we wanted to see how they would perform today, along with new elements that we had no idea how they would be. And the result was positive. I'm going to talk about some spoilers now. If you don't want to hear, then click on that card over there about the first 35 minutes of Inside Out 2 that were released. But otherwise, stick with me until the end. Let's start this spoiler session with the movie's villain, Jinx. She wasn't that generic villain who just wanted to be a villain for the sake of it. She had a backstory, which by the way was very interesting and involved Vic, Garfield's father. They were friends in the past, and one day they went to rob a farm where there were several milks, and at the time of the escape, Jinx was caught and taken to the pound, and Vic didn't make much effort to go get her. And then years later when she shows up, she uses Garfield to get Vic, and in the middle of this mess, there are several plot twists that no one expected. One of them is that everyone thought that Jinx wanted Vic to go back to the farm and steal several liters of milk to make up for the time she was locked up. And that's it. But in fact, she calls the farm to warn that there will be a milk theft, so the pound goes there to get Vic, and she fulfills her revenge. No one expected that. So this character had a very positive point, which was very different from the chameleon from Kung Fu Panda 4. She had a very generic desire. It was weak. Watch this video I made about the end of Kung Fu Panda 4, and you'll understand it better. Now I noticed a detail that will blow your mind. Garfield's biological father is Vic, and he calls Garfield Garfield Jr., so Garfield's real name is Victor Jr., and Garfield was given by John. You didn't expect that, right? So let's leave that like to strengthen the channel. About post-credits scenes. I thought what they did was genius. There's a scene that's in comic strip format, a tribute to the original Garfield. And in the comics he asks, "What are you still doing here?" "Oh, waiting for a sequel." So you can already imagine that a sequel is coming. And there's a lot more to do, 1 or 2 more Garfield movies, because there are infinite stories written since the time of the comic strips. And besides, this guy's charisma is contagious. He's a beloved character by many people all over the world. So with a good story and good animation, Sony will go far with Garfield, and I really hope so. Also, leave #Garfield in the comments if you're going to watch the movie in theaters. I'll give hearts to everyone who writes this. Although Garfield has a more childish vibe, unlike Toy Story 3, How to Train Your Dragon, Shrek, which are less childish animations, the Garfield movie managed to bring a story that holds attention, and not just another generic story to sell. This movie has a script, and a good script. In fact, the film premieres this month of May in theaters, and then come back here and tell me if you agree with everything I said or not. Now it's time for you to click on one of these videos and continue in the universe of animations and movies. There's a lot you don't even imagine about these characters and movies. Click there. Thank you very much for making it to the end of the video, and see you in the next Cine Lovers.